Hey dumplings, it's Dave Desai. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about Jimin speaking up about if they never renewed their contract. Obviously this is talking about BTS's contract. Usually I believe their contract is about 7 years, and it was actually supposed to be over this month of this year. So we'll talk about that, we'll get into that for you. We also have some changes that BigHit announced. I think you'll find this interesting, and definitely something kind of noteworthy. Let's get into the tea here. If you are new here and you're interested in this type of stuff, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and that notification bell so you'll be notified anytime a new video drops. And if you're a hater, like to be the first to leave your hate comment, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and that notification bell also so you can be the first to do so. Now let's jump into it. Now let's start with the contract. So let me give you a backstory. BTS signed with BigHit back in 2013, June 13th exactly. So quite some time ago. They actually recently had their 7th anniversary just a few days ago, as some of you probably know. It's definitely been a crazy kind of go for them. Like, I didn't really get to know them until about 2017, maybe around 2018. So I definitely find it interesting when you realize how long an artist has been working on their music, like how long they've been working on it before you discovered them. Because it's like they don't exist to you until you discover their music. Like the majority of your life, you don't know who they are, and then one day you just come across a video, you meet them through a video, and suddenly they become something to you. There's someone who you think about all the time and all that stuff. And then I do this thing where then I think about how old was I when they first debuted, and like what was my life like at that time versus theirs. I don't know if anyone else does that, but anyway. So recently, due to the whole thing that's going on in the world right now that I cannot speak about, we'll call it Voldemort, the thing that is killing people and making people go crazy with the quarantine. BTS obviously had to cancel a lot of their tours and public appearances, things like that. So of course they decided to make it up to armies. They decided to post more on social media, whether that's selfies, videos, or simple things of just what they're up to. They also started doing like Bang Bang Con, which is really cool. Basically, if you don't know what Bang Bang Con is, it's just BigHit streaming some of BTS's old concerts. So obviously I don't think any one particular person has caught every single BTS performance or BTS concert. So watching Bang Bang Con is obviously going to feel a lot fresh and new to a lot of people. I like that a lot. I think it's great. I do feel sad because after all this is over, I do feel like they are going to be posting less. I mean, that's fine. Obviously, they shouldn't stress over posting when obviously they have a tour to worry about. You know, that can be kind of stressful, right? And it's interesting because touring does help make money, but it doesn't help attract kind of new armies or really keep the old armies kind of fed who can't go to the concerts, right? So I do wish that they would kind of make a plan to kind of post more, or at least post steadily as they're on tour. But then again, they do have things like Bon Voyage and all that stuff where they post, which is great. But in Bang Bang Con, Jin actually talked about their 7th birthday, the anniversary. Jin spoke about that the day before would have been their last day. The contract was ending, and he said how thankful he was that all of the members actually decided to renew their contract. That he found a good company that obviously he would like to stay with. Obviously, a good company is very important and allows you to stay together because you're going to want to stay together if there's no drama or anything like that. I do feel like a lot of groups end up disbanding because one, they don't like each other, or two, because their agency sucks. And oftentimes the group can't actually get back together when they're not signed to the agency because the agency probably owns their name. I'm not talking about anyone in particular. This is kind of just like a general thing that happens. But I'm glad this is something that isn't happening to BTS right now, and they have no intention of leaving BigHit. Now after that was said, Jimin actually did post a live stream on YouTube where he decided to be candid with us. I love the YouTube live stream. I wonder what convinced him to do the live stream. He usually does his live stream on VLive, so what made him do it on YouTube? But when I did see that notification, I clicked fast. Jimin basically spoke out about how if the members didn't actually agree to renew their contract, BTS would have officially ended in June 13th, 2020. This of course would have been their anniversary date. That's like breaking up with your significant other or getting a divorce on your anniversary date. That would have been painful. And Jimin spoke out about if that actually happened, they would have ended up parting ways. Because I guess if they didn't end up renewing their contract, there might have been some underlying reasons that I mentioned earlier, like not liking each other or not liking the agency. I don't think any of them would have stopped singing though. Like that would have been the start of their solo career. But obviously no point in theorizing on if they would have sang or what would happen or all that stuff because it didn't actually happen. They didn't disband. And BTS did renew their contract and extended their end date. Jimin said on their 7th anniversary, they actually did talk about disbandment or their almost disbandment, which if you don't know what happened, in 2018 at the Mama Awards, Jin actually went up to make a speech. He spoke about the hardships that BTS were having and how they decided that at one point they would like to disband. And then Jimin mentioned in his live stream that if that had happened, they wouldn't have seen each other that much and all that stuff. I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but I always wondered why so many boy groups or boy bands, whatever you want to call it, seemingly break up right before they reach this like huge level of popularity. Or like they'll break up right as they're getting popular. Because if BTS did break up before their contract ended or was somehow allowed to leave before their contract ended, at that time they would have just reached international stardom. And then they're gone. I personally would have just found out about them. And then I would have found out that they disbanded. And then to me, personally, personally, it's going to feel like, oh, they were famous for like 2 seconds and then they're gone. When in reality, of course, they had been working their butts off. So ultimately, I am so glad that they're still together. History books are going to write about them, and they're Asian. It also goes to show you can't actually achieve success if you actually give up. Because BTS is still on the rise, and they're eventually going to get to the point where they're just wow. Even more so than they are now. And that wouldn't happen if they disbanded or gave up. So definitely much to learn there, and you have to definitely keep persevering if you want to achieve your goals. I definitely wanted to see what some people's thoughts were of Jimin's kind of conversation about this. So I went on the famous Bird website, Mr. Tweeter. Pretty much there was a consensus of tweets like this one. K-pop sucks if they didn't. Saying if they didn't renew their contract. They definitely took K-pop to this new level, and they almost did it themselves. People are now more willing and able to accept K-pop as a whole, where they didn't actually before, so that's dope. Contracts aren't the only thing in BigHit that is being talked about and updated on. Apparently, BigHit also updated their audition to now accept girl groups. Now, I couldn't figure out why in the beginning BigHit only accepted male groups, but among some of the things that you have said, and some research I did myself, apparently BigHit had a girl group named Glam. They debuted in 2012 and they disbanded in 2015. Apparently, they had quite a bit of controversy. People apparently really didn't like Glam for whatever reason. I don't know their full story, and people theorized and allegedly said that this is why BigHit focuses mainly on boy groups now. And of course, they're seeing some success with BTS. Then it only makes sense for them to try to make more successful boy bands. So obviously for the past few years, all they have been letting is just boy groups kind of become trainees and have auditions only be boys. But this new update that they posted on social media is going to be allowing women to audition, but it's just going to be Japanese women. And you have to be born after 2001. So I guess you can't be older than 19. And that kind of makes sense because if you end up training for a few years, you're probably going to be in your mid-20s before you debut. If it takes you that long, if you're good, maybe it'll take you just a year. But also, I'm very excited to see if there are any Japanese girls right now that are watching, that are going to go to the audition and actually do it. Because please send me an email. I would love to do an interview with you. Talk about the training process, talk about the audition process, if that's allowed, of course. I want to talk about your experiences doing the audition. Obviously, some tips and tricks if you have any of those. And of course, the experience of auditioning, being one of the first women to audition in a long time. So if you go on Twitter and you write in BigHit Japan auditions, that is the Twitter account that is posting all the updates on this. You'll see the official Twitter posts and kind of the audition posts to give you instructions on what you have to do. So I do think there's a reason why they specifically specify that you need to be Japanese. I don't know the reason, but obviously when companies go out and say that they're looking for this particular type of person and all that stuff, they have a particular reason as to why they want that. But just to clear up some questions that I get all the time every time I mention kind of the audition process. No, I don't think race matters, at least not to the extent that I think you think it matters. In this particular case, I think it does matter because they're looking for Japanese girls. But in other cases where they're doing global auditions, it doesn't matter as much as you think it does. It's pretty much a free-for-all at that point. There's definitely plenty of non-Korean K-pop stars, and it looks like this group that is going to be auditioning, maybe it'll be the first Japanese K-pop star. I don't even know if that's possible for a Japanese K-pop star. Isn't that just called J-pop? I think if you're white, black, whatever, you can definitely audition. They're not going to say no. But if you can't speak the language, they'll probably pick someone else. You'd have to be like really good. We're talking like Beyonce level good, where they're just like, okay, well, she can't really speak the language, but we really want her, so we're gonna help teach her the language. But I think the reason why you don't see too many black or white kind of K-pop singers is usually because they don't speak the language. And the kind of publicity that they would get, like any company would get for having a white or black singer, is amazing. So I think a lot of them are going to want to do that. And I definitely kind of wanted to see other people's reactions on the auditioning and what their reaction to the news was. I hope I wasn't the only one that was excited. I don't even know why I was excited. I'm not even a girl. So he says, I can't audition, but I am excited to get a girl group in the future. But anyway, one person on Twitter wrote that they'll be pulling up the squad to audition with our girls squad. Okay, but first off, why is J-Hope and Yoongi look so good as girls? Like literally the hottest girls I've ever seen. My bisexual self doesn't know what to do. Where do I process this information? I'm so done here. We also have other Twitter users that are a little bit upset on the news that it's just for Japanese people. I get it, I feel you. This person wrote this. BigHit will be accepting female trainees, but only who's born in Japan. BTS will having FaceTime with J-Armies. BTS will be having another movie, but only in Japan. No one, literally no one, me. How to be a Japanese citizen. Okay, but like I feel your pain. But my pain personally is that I need to be talented enough to even audition. What am I gonna audition for? I'll just flop around like a fish and call it dancing. Anywho, let me know what you think and let me know what your thoughts are. Leave it in the comment section down below. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'm featuring this comment right here. Thank you so much for leaving comments. And as always, I do have a Patreon if you want to go ahead and check out my Patreon and all the stuff that I put over there. Anything you can contribute over on my Patreon, it really does help kind of give back to this channel, help me kind of spend more time making videos and all that stuff to make them better. So I really do appreciate anything you contribute over there. Obviously, if you can't, then that still means the world to me too, and you are lovely and I love you too. You can also get exclusive content over there, such as music video reactions, performance reactions, ship reactions, all that stuff. You can also request things. I'll leave a link in the description down below so you can check that out. There's also 2 videos that will pop up at the end of the screen on this video. So click on one of those videos and I will catch you over there. Bye.